My husband laughed with his friends, saying, "This marriage won't last another year, Shum. She's not even in my league." They all cheered. I just smiled and replied, "You're right. Let's not waste a year." I packed my bag and left. That night, his best friend called and said something that changed everything. "I'm Ruby Morrison, and this is the night I learned the truth about the man I'd loved for 12 years. The man whose name sat beside mine on every company document, whose failures I'd funded, whose ego I'd protected while building an empire he now claimed as his own. The air smelled of charred meat and betrayal, and as I stood there, the weight of it settled into my bones. I could have screamed, could have shattered the glass doors with the tray, but instead I watched. I memorized their faces, Nathan's smug grin, Trevor's casual nod, Marcus's feet on my furniture. These men who'd eaten my food, celebrated holidays in my home, now cheered the idea that I was beneath them. Trevor poured another round from my wine fridge, the one I'd installed when we renovated the patio last spring. "How long you been feeling this way, Dom?" Nathan asked, leaning forward with the eagerness of a man chasing gossip. "Since she landed the Morrison Industries account," Dominic replied, swirling his glass with a flourish he'd learned from YouTube wine tutorials, not sophistication. "The ego on her lately is unbearable. Acts like she single-handedly saved the company." My breath caught, sharp as a blade. The Morrison account, 40% of our revenue, secured through 17 grueling meetings, 3 redesign proposals, and a complete overhaul of our services, while Dominic golfed in Palm Springs. That account had drawn 3 Fortune 500 clients to our agency, the agency I'd built from a freelance operation while he chased one failed venture after another. The crypto platform that bled $60,000 of our savings. The meal kit service that never launched. The meditation app that couldn't compete with free alternatives. Each flop had drained the wealth I'd earned, yet here he was, rewriting history to make me the lucky one. "You built that company from nothing," Marcus said, his voice thick with conviction, as if he'd never seen a single spreadsheet. "She just got lucky with a few good quarters." Dominic nodded, accepting the lie as truth, while I stood frozen, the patio lights casting my shadow long and jagged across the stone. My company, my vision, my sleepless nights answering client calls at midnight, while Dominic pontificated about disrupting industries at dinner parties. He called himself a visionary, but I was the one closing deals, managing staff, strategizing success, while he played golf and drank my wine. "Ruby's changed," Dominic continued, his tone practiced, wounded. "She used to support my dreams. Now it's all revenue this, profit margins that. She doesn't get that business is more than spreadsheets." Nathan laughed, the sound echoing like a gunshot across my carefully designed patio. "Sounds like a typical corporate drone. No vision, just execution." Execution. The word burned. Execution had taken us from a home office to a downtown suite with 23 employees. Execution bought Dominic's BMW, his designer suits, his country club membership. Execution built the life he now mocked while plotting to take half of it. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a text from Sarah, our senior developer. "Morrison Industries loves the new campaign proposal. They're ready to sign the expansion contract tomorrow. You did it again." Tomorrow, I'd face the biggest meeting of our company's history, a deal that would double our revenue and cement our place in the industry. And here was my husband, telling his friends our marriage was a joke. "The thing is," Dominic said, pouring his 4th glass, "I've been documenting everything. Every time she makes a decision without me, every time she undermines my authority. My lawyer says I have a strong case for taking half the company, maybe more. His lawyer, Derek Polson, his racquetball buddy from the country club. They'd been meeting to divide my empire while I built it." "Smart man," Trevor said, raising his glass. "Get your ducks in a row before she knows what hit her." "She won't see it coming," Dominic assured them, his confidence bloated by wine and their sycophantic cheers. The real game, he called it, as if I were a pawn in his chess match, unaware of the moves being made against me. The tray of steaks had cooled, the fat congealing in the September air. I picked it up, my hands steady despite the storm inside me, and pushed open the French doors. Their laughter died as their heads snapped toward me, Dominic's tumbler frozen halfway to his lips, the amber liquid catching the patio lights I'd strung up last summer. The silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of our neighbor's pool filter. "Ruby," Dominic stammered, his voice cracking like a teenager caught sneaking out. "We were just—" "Why wait a year?" I said, setting the tray down with deliberate calm, my voice honed from years of firing underperforming vendors. "Let's end it today. I wouldn't want you to endure another 12 months married to someone so far beneath your level." Nathan's face blanched. Trevor stared at his phone. Marcus took a step back, nearly toppling the citronella candle I'd lit to keep mosquitoes at bay. Dominic, my husband of 12 years, the man who'd vowed to love and honor me before 200 guests, just gaped, speechless for once. I turned and walked back through the doors, my footsteps echoing on the hardwood as I headed for our bedroom. Behind me, frantic whispers and scraping chairs betrayed their panic. In the master closet, I pulled out my Samsonite luggage, a gift to myself after closing our first $1 million contract. My hands moved with precision, folding blazers I'd worn to meetings Dominic never attended, packing jewelry I'd bought to mark each milestone he'd claimed as ours. From the bathroom, I gathered my serums, creams, the sleeping pills I'd needed more often as his Thursday night gatherings grew louder. The betrayal wasn't just in his words, it was in every moment I'd spent building a life he planned to dismantle. Footsteps climbed the stairs, hesitant, multiple sets, like children approaching a disappointed parent. Dominic appeared in the doorway, hair disheveled, Nathan hovering behind him. "Ruby, please, can we talk?" he pleaded. "There's nothing to talk about," I said, zipping my toiletry bag. "You've made your position clear. I'm beneath you." "Our marriage is a joke. You've been meeting with Derek Paulson about divorce proceedings. What's left to discuss?" His face paled at Derek's name. "How did you know about your lawyer?" I cut him off, pulling my laptop bag from the closet, the one holding every password, every client contact, every piece of intellectual property I'd created. "The same way I know about the bank account you opened in January. The same way I know you've been telling investors I'm emotionally unstable." Nathan stepped forward, and his expression, guilt laced with relief, clicked everything into place. "It was you," I said, locking eyes with him. "You sent the anonymous message an hour ago. Check your husband's Thursday night meetings. You need to know what he's saying." Dominic spun on his friend, rage twisting his features. "You warned her?" Nathan straightened, no longer the frat boy I'd known. "I've been sending her screenshots for 3 weeks, Dom. Every message in our group chat about hiding assets, every discussion about Project Gaslight, every time you bragged about taking half of what Ruby built while painting her as the villain. Project Gaslight." The name landed like a slap. I laughed, bitter and hollow. "You named it like it's a military operation, not just destroying your wife's reputation." Trevor and Marcus lingered in the hallway, their earlier bravado gone. "Those Thursday nights weren't poker games," Nathan continued, his voice stronger now. "They were planning sessions. Dominic took photos of you working late to prove you neglected the marriage, recorded conversations out of context, built a case that you were the problem. I faced them all, these men who'd eaten at my table, whose birthdays I'd remembered. You thought it was funny? Justified? That I deserved this because I dared to succeed?" Silence suffocated the room. Dominic's hands clenched, his jaw working, but no words came. I closed the bedroom door with a soft click, louder than any slam. My suitcase wheels whispered against the carpet as I passed our wedding photos, each frame a lie. The elevator to the Marriott downtown felt like a descent into a new life. The desk clerk, a young woman with kind eyes, didn't question my request for an executive suite. I paid with a credit card Dominic didn't know existed, my emergency fund built from bonuses I'd never mentioned. The suite's floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city I'd conquered, one client at a time, while Dominic played pretend mogul. In the shower, steam curling around me, I let the tears come, mixing with the water, my sobs echoing off the marble. 12 years of building a life with someone who documented my destruction, gathering evidence for a war I didn't know we were fighting. I stayed under the water until it ran cold, until my skin pruned and my eyes swelled, crying out the betrayal and the humiliation of not seeing it sooner. Patricia Winters, my lawyer, answered at 9 p.m., her voice calm but authoritative. "Nathan contacted me 2 hours ago. He's prepared to testify about Dominic's financial manipulation and the conspiracy to manufacture evidence of your instability. Meet me at 8 a.m., bring everything, bank statements, company records, communications. I spent 3 hours organizing files, documenting every dollar I'd sunk into Dominic's failures, every contract I'd closed while his office stayed dark. At midnight, Nathan arrived at my suite with 3 banker's boxes, his usual swagger replaced by shame. "I'm sorry," he said, setting them down, "watching him poison everyone against you while you kept the company afloat. It's been eating at me." "Why wait so long?" I asked, opening the first box, manila folders in Dominic's handwriting, financial discrepancies, emotional instability evidence. My emails annotated to twist normal business into proof of abandonment or control. "At first, I thought he was venting," Nathan said, sinking into an armchair. "But it became something else. He screenshot your texts, took photos of you working late, built a narrative where you were the villain. The second box held worse. Pictures of me at my desk at 10 p.m., my LinkedIn posts marked as narcissistic, even photos from my sister's birthday dinner, my 2 glasses of wine labeled as a drinking problem. The third box revealed a shadow company, Morrison Strategic Solutions, designed to poach our clients. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Emergency. Dominic sent an all-staff email claiming you're having a mental health crisis and he's taking control. I showed Nathan, who paled. He's escalating. I called Patricia, putting her on speaker. Forward it to me, she said. I'm filing an emergency injunction for defamation and fraud. Nathan, send me everything on Project Gaslight. We worked until 2 a.m., building a case to protect my company and reputation. Do you hate me? Nathan asked as he left. I don't know, I said honestly. You participated for months. Your conscience doesn't erase that. At 3 a.m., Trevor's wife Linda called, her voice trembling. I found out what they've been doing. Trevor bragged about their plans, laughing about how you had no idea. I recorded him. I'm sending the files to your lawyer. Another ally, another marriage crumbling under Dominic's influence. I stood at the window, the city asleep below, knowing Dominic's plan was collapsing as his friends turned on him. The investor meeting at 10 a.m. was my battleground. I wore my sharpest black suit, the one from the Samsung deal, makeup hiding my exhaustion. Patricia's injunction had barred Dominic from company accounts. Nathan and I arranged evidence in the conference room, financial records, client testimonials, Project Gaslight documents. The board arrived, their faces grim. Dominic entered in a Tom Ford suit I'd bought, his cologne heavy, but his smile faltered when he saw Nathan beside me, Patricia present, the evidence displayed. He began with prepared note cards, claiming my emotional state caused disruptions. Margaret Chin cut him off, holding up a screenshot of his Project Gaslight messages. These are your words, Mr. Morrison? I showed slides of my contracts, $32 million in revenue, against Dominic's empty column. James Harrison, our biggest client, dismissed Dominic's contributions entirely. The board saw his shadow company's registration, the final nail. His lawyer, Derek, advised a private talk, his defeat clear. Margaret proposed reconvening to formalize Dominic's exit, offering a generous buyout he didn't deserve. 6 months later, the divorce finalized in a sterile conference room. Dominic, thinner in a wrinkled Target shirt, signed away any claim to my company, house, and accounts. His apology, I'm sorry, rang hollow. You're right, I said. I don't believe you. A Forbes article later called me the woman who built a digital empire while divorcing dead weight. Dominic, now in Buffalo, working at a startup, wrote a delusional apology letter, suggesting he could consult for my company. I filed it away, a reminder of his inability to see himself as anything but the hero. At the company holiday party, my team shared their own stories of being diminished by loved ones, bonding us as survivors. Nathan's wedding toast, months later, acknowledged his shame and Sophie's ultimatum, earning my reluctant respect. 3 weeks after my mom's 70th birthday, I saw Dominic in Whole Foods, comparing generic pasta prices, his wedding ring gone. He started toward me, but my indifference, calm, absolute, stopped him. He fled, leaving his cart behind. I continued shopping, planning a dinner for investors in my new venture, a company he'd read about in journals he could no longer afford. The universe, it seemed, had its own justice.